Darwin is the capital of the Northern Territory, the land of Australia's Aboriginal population, but the cultural landscape here does not reflect this political status. In fact, Darwin is a thoroughly modern Australian town. Darwin's population, approaching 90,000, includes 5 times as many Chinese and other East and Southeast Asians as Aborigines. It is a governmental headquarters and a tourist center, but it hardly represents the demography of its political hinterland. Darwin's relative location puts it at the end of a series of Indonesian island stepping stones that connect the Northern Territory to the mainland of Asia. Singapore Chinese, Vietnamese Chinese, and Timorese are among those who have come to join Darwin's growing East Asian community. But more recently, refugees have tried to reach Australia from China as boat people. They come across the South China Sea via this route, the Sulu Sea, the Celebes Sea, the Molucca Sea, the Banda Sea, and eventually the Arafura Sea. To reach Darwin is their goal. Australia intensively patrols the waters of the Arafura and Timor Seas to guard against illegal fishing and migration. But in June 1994, a Chinese sailboat carrying 51 men, women, and children made it undetected to this jetty in the Darwin suburb of Nightcliff. They climbed the stairs, walked down the jetty. 4 of them hailed a taxi and asked to be taken to the local police station. Well, the story ends happily for the migrants. They were given refugee status in Australia. But when in December 1994, Australian patrol boats brought to Darwin a total of 350 illegal migrants in 1 week, the issue of illegal migration from East and Southeast Asia into Australia rose to the forefront of national concerns. In fact, Darwin is a multicultural town in which East and Southeast Asians have long made up a substantial part of the population, now approaching 90,000. About 11,000 Darwinians come from Asian countries, and some of these families have been here for more than a century. Darwin's Chinese temple dates from 1887. It was built with financial assistance from and approval of the Singaporean religious community. It was severely damaged during the great disaster that struck Darwin on Christmas Eve, 1974. A cyclone that destroyed almost 90% of the city's buildings. But it was rebuilt again with Singaporean assistance and was dedicated with Singaporean religious approval in 1978. Serves the community, the large community of East Asians living in the Darwin area. Not much of Darwin's original Chinese architectural heritage remains, but here in a downtown street are Chinese-owned shops that have endured for more than a century, survivors from another era. But it is the Aborigines who are left behind in Darwin's transition. I asked a family to tell me about their views of Darwin. They told me that they live several miles away in their own community and that they come to Darwin only for social services. For them, the city is a foreign place. Most of the Aborigines in Darwin, they said, are transients now. Locationally, Darwin resembles Miami, the American city in the path of major migration streams. The question is, will the Timor Arafura Sea turn out to be the Caribbean of Australia?